Well, another Memphis part two, I guess. I think it's happened 4 times in college football. That's it. You know, teams have played back-to-back, obviously from the end of the season to a championship game, but obviously unique. But I think the biggest thing is for our guys is what we've talked about. You know, in week 15 of football, this is what you prepare for. This is what we said, one goal at the beginning of the year. Don't talk about it all year, just kind of hit it for camp, and it's to play for championships. And this opportunity, I kind of remind them that 95% of college football would trade places with you. You know, and to have this opportunity, whether it's on the road or at home, obviously on the road, but to have this opportunity to go and to play for a championship is what we work for, and we're excited about it. Obviously, it's very intriguing. Obviously, coming back to back, playing the same team, but it's also difficult in some ways too. You know, not that last week didn't end the way we wanted it to, but I think even as a coach and as a player, both of it. I know it's a championship week, and everybody say, how could you not be, you know, incredibly excited? You know, week 2 of doing the same thing over and over again for coaches is unique because it's, you know, what do? Do you go back and you break down different games? Do you break down this game? How much do you change? What do you change? You know, we got to do some different things. You know, whether that's, you know, defensively playing more 4-man front than 3-man front. Just do something, but you also don't want to do too much. And I think that's the unique thing about us as a coaching staff, and then the players the same way. You know, you're seeing a lot of the same things for the second week, and almost like a bowl game. You know, by the end of the preparation for a bowl game, it's like they're bored. They just want to go play. And not that anybody's bored and going into a championship game, but just the monotony of sometimes the same things over and over again, same plays, is quite unique. So this week is obviously exciting, but unique and different just because of the situation of playing them last week.
Does it change anything seeing their speed in person, live, for the first time and now?
I think it gives you a better, truly indication because, I mean, what you see on film is not always what you see. And I think that we've kind of said that all year. Obviously, these guys on film, it wasn't hard to see the speed. But sometimes you try to tell guys, hey, they're going to play you different because of where we are and what we've done. They've played this way all year. And but I think you get a better grasp, you get a better understanding, you get a better respect, I think, on both sides of the football. And it's not just speed, it's also physicality. I think that, you know, I'm not saying that we didn't expect it, but they were much more physical, I think, defensive line-wise, offensive line-wise, than maybe even you could assume just by watching the film.
Is there a confidence boost being in that game and knowing how close it was, even up to the end? Now that they play again, they realize.
I don't know. I've said this a few times. Some people, you know, they say, well, hey, did your defense get more confidence or your offense? We don't lack confidence. And, you know, I think that as a coach is just one of those things that you look and you see and you got an idea of what is your team has and what your team needs. And when people say that, I say, well, you know what, sometimes you're right. Sometimes it can give you a boost of confidence. This isn't a crew that lacks confidence, and that's not the same as the crew from last year. And it won't be the same as the crew next year. But it's not a crew that lacks confidence. I think it's a little bit more of a understanding of what it is that they need to do and to do better, more than it is a confidence boost either way. What's that? Yeah, we'll have one. Desmond Ridder is our starting quarterback. He's been our starting quarterback for 2 years, and you know, I mean, that's who we are. That's what we do. Obviously, last week was a unique situation, but you know, that doesn't change, you know, what Des has done to get us to this point. Yeah, I mean, if a guy twists an ankle, you always got to have an opportunity to see the other guy, and you know, I think those are the things. It's not, you know, it's not back and forth. It's not you know, an open competition by any means. I think what it's done for us is, you know, gave us some confidence in the things that we're doing. That no matter what the situation is, you know that 22 guys we've talked about all year, you know, that normally doesn't apply to the quarterback position, but you know, right now it looks like it could apply to the quarterback position, but that's not the plans to be able to, you know, kind of switch in and out. You know, that's a unique position, and you got to believe in, you know, whichever, you know, if the Des is out there, that, you know, he is our guy, and you're not gonna, you don't want him looking over shoulders.
Does that give you guys any benefit that Memphis hasn't seen?
You'd have to ask them. I don't know. You know, I mean, I'm not the one that's preparing for it. You know, they've seen a lot of film of Desmond Ridder. They know what he can do. You know, so I don't. Maybe they don't know. You know, because they didn't get to see it firsthand. How fast is he, or how strong is he, or whatever. But I don't know. You'd have to ask them.
How do you guys balance maybe adjusting the game plan versus staying true to it?
I don't know. It's unique. I've never done it. This is one of those kind of uncharted waters. You know, you try to ask people how they do it. Obviously, the NFL does it every year, not back to back usually, but they play somebody the same, you know, teams in division twice in 1 year. So, you know, I think the biggest thing is, you know, even with the extra time, you got an extra day, you can't do too much, and it's not too much as a coach, because coaches can do a lot. They can work, but you know, I've challenged them to say, hey, the biggest thing you got to do is make sure you know what you're not telling them, because even though you've had 2 entire weeks, a time to look at them and then a time to, you know, step back and reevaluate and things like that, they're still 18 to 22. They still got this much that they can remember and see in order to play really fast and react really quick. So I think there's more on the coaches' plates to say, okay, maybe we have a better idea of this, and this, but what are we going to do and what can we handle?
Have you reached out and talked to NFL coaches or anybody about?
I've asked, yeah. I'm not a bunch of them. Like I said, I don't have a ton of friends out there that you try to bounce things off of all the time. But ask them just in general, what's the philosophy the second time you play them? You know, just kind of like I've asked them a few times on what's the philosophy when you play an early game. We had not done that. You know, we played 2 Friday games. So in some ways, some similarities to what it is that they do. Obviously, in some ways, a different game, but you know, never back to back. But a lot of things I would have assumed hold true.
What makes their special team such a challenge, and what would you like to do a little differently this time?
Well, we're pretty darn good, other than the opening kickoff, really, to be honest with you. You know, they did a great. They if you look at them and you evaluate them, I tell our team every week, I plop on the kickoff return to start the week off, just to see, you know, what kind of culture, what kind of team are they really. And if you do it, you're going to see starters out there. You're going to see guys that are relentless. You see guys that take incredible pride in what it is they do. Very similar to what it is we do. And I think what makes them really good is the emphasis they put on it, the players that they put on it, not to mention, you know, the athletes that they have. So, but it's not just the athletes. It's not just the returners. It's the people they've got on there in general too, and they do a great job. I mean, it was quite a battle, even from our punt team to their punt team, back and forth, knowing that we were both really good at what we do. You know, and you saw the little bit of the chess matches and the things that we do, and you know, so that'll be another unique situation, playing them back-to-back weeks. Is, you know, how much different and new can you do in that situation too?
For some of your seniors and older guys on this team, it's been a long journey to this point to get to double wins back-to-back years, a chance at a championship. What would it mean to them just to be able to bring back a trophy here and just live that moment?
You can ask them, but I think you know, those are the gratifying things. I mean, they're excited. They love what it is they've done. They had this opportunity. I think, but anytime you can finish, I think that's where the memories and the joy really comes in. And, you know, we've said it for 4 or 5 weeks, and we'll go as they go, and we will continue to go as they go. You know, whether it's this game or the following game in the bowl. But, you know, they've put a lot of work. They've been through a lot of those ups and downs. Each guy has their own little things that's going to be unique to them. But to top it off, to do, you know, what the one goal that we've said we needed to do, when maybe a lot of people don't believe in you, I think it means that much more to those guys. But it means something to everybody, whether they're a freshman in the room that doesn't really know what it's all about, doesn't really have any idea as to how we got here. It means a lot to them as well because of, you know, the dedication, the things they put into it. But we always celebrate the seniors and know that, you know, this is the last opportunity, guaranteed opportunity. Obviously, they got a bowl game. They're few and far between.
You mentioned it as head coach, knowing the stakes of this game. What do you think the bigger reward is winning the conference championship versus getting that big?
No, those guys, a bowl's a bowl. A bowl's a celebration. You know, you want to win a championship, and there's no place in anything that we talk about, hey, let's get ourselves to a certain bowl game, and that has no bearing on it, to be honest with you. It's all about an opportunity to play for a championship, to bring home a championship. I don't think there's any other thoughts in any of their minds about the next step and where they would go. And maybe I could be wrong. I'm not saying that some of them haven't thought of, their parents haven't asked them. I'd say it'd be more of the people outside of there, but the guys in this room, they could probably almost care less as to where they're going to go. More importantly is what can we bring back?
Describe it as this thing you guys don't talk about, the championship. How much does that change this? How much
Well, it's about a championship. We've gotten to a point where now this, if you see the schedules are blacked out and things like that, and trying to be focused in one thing at a time, now you've gotten to the point, we know what it's about. It's just something we don't talk about because it's long-term. Well, that long-term point is here. Now you can actually talk about it. And, I started off yesterday by saying I'm not going to have to tell you guys how important this is and how big this is, but I also want to make sure I remind you how appreciative we are for what it is that you've done to get us to this point. Now we got to find a way, and figure out a way and do the things that we need to do to bring it home.
How are your big routine guys having an extra day? Did you do anything different?
No, we actually just trying to be smart. Like you said, it's how much prep, how much overdue can you do, and ultimately how fresh can you be. So we were smart and hopefully giving them Saturday off, let them rest a little bit and get treatment and things like that, and then get rolling back into what we're doing. But there's a balance in all of it, and there's no exact science to it. I think it's a lot more of a feel for what it is that your team has and what your team needs.
How have you guys managed to overcome all the injuries to key players to get to 10-2 2 straight years?
It's been more difficult this year than last year, I would say. I could stand up here and complain and talk about the number of guys that have gone down, but thank goodness, I think at the beginning of the year, the idea was, hey, 22 guys on both sides of the football are going to be what we really need. And I think doing that in camp and having that prep gave us an opportunity, a better opportunity, that if something like that happened, that we had been prepared, whether it's offensive line, whether it was the back end of the defense, throughout the entire camp, we had prepared, trying to get those 1As and 1Bs ready, not expecting guys to get hurt, but expecting it to be a long 15-week season where you're playing a lot of plays, and you're going to be a lot better at the end if you can continue to play an excess number of guys.
I think by any metric, the American has separated itself from the rest of the quote-unquote group of 5 conferences out there. I still would have to win this Memphis game to be in that conversation for New Year's Six Bowl. But there seems to be some conversation out there that says that even if Cincinnati wins this game, you guys have to deserve that shot. How do you respond to that?
I didn't know there was conversation out there, to be honest. Remember that rock I live under? I don't hear a whole bunch of that. I'm sure I did see something where I'm sure our commissioner continues to talk, but I don't listen. Not for any other reason than just staying locked into the things that you're doing. And guess what? I have absolutely no control. And that's it. We have some control over where we're going by winning, but we have absolutely no control beyond that as to where we go. I'm not going to sit up here and lobby for us or for anybody of our conference. I'm not saying other coaches don't do that. I mean, there's hype masters out there all over the place. I try to keep myself. I got a lot of things to do with these 115, 110, 18 to 22-year-olds and a 29-year-old. They keep me plenty busy.
But do you think the champion of this conference, do you think they should have that spot here?
Yeah, I would assume. I mean, obviously this conference is really good, and I don't know that it's just this year, but I think in general, you're seeing a lot more. I'm not saying respect. I don't even know. I haven't watched it enough, but I know I have a lot more respect. Not that I didn't have before, but what the conference has done this entire year and the number of teams that have that opportunity to be in there. So I would hope and believe that no matter what, they recognize and see that. But we got to take care of our own business and see how those things all shuffle out.
Would you prefer the conference maybe schedule division opponents late so you wouldn't have to do this against the Western team and back-to-back?
Well, I don't know. We don't have divisions next year, so
Well, that's true.
so I would guess that this mistake won't happen. I didn't say a mistake. This won't happen again if there are divisions. I mean, nobody can project as to, I had an idea that Memphis and UC were going to be in the. But if there are conferences, I would probably guess that you're not going to see them play cross across the conference on the last game of the year.
Yeah, well, I guess that takes care of the problem, but do you like that you and Memphis, two of the best teams in the conference, are scheduled late?
The best two, right?
Yeah, the best.
Okay.
Do you think that kind of helps, just sort of, we always talk about November being the most important month.
Yeah.
Do you think that that's?
Yeah, I mean, we had a unique schedule. I thought we were really front-loaded, and then obviously at the very end. And in between, if you would have just looked, not knowing what the conference was going to be, you would say, okay, you don't have the UCFs and things, in the, like you did at the beginning, and the Houstons. You didn't recognize that the entire conference was going to be as, strong. And I know sometimes the records don't always say that, but strong in a lot of different ways. So I don't know that there's a whole lot of difference. That okay, hey, we could. There was no coasting. I think you saw our games, right? There wasn't a whole lot of deep breaths being had in the fourth quarters to many of those games. They all came down pretty much to a wire. So, it was different.